To the seekers of the darkest wisdom, I extend my call. Those brave souls prepared to invoke life from the very fabric of code. To harness such formidable forces, one must ascend to mastery over the shadowy realms of the cyberspace. Becoming a sage of sinister software, we stand as the necromancers of the digital world, sovereigns over vast armies of malware. And let it be known, our legions are devoid of mercy. To safeguard against malicious software, various detection methods are employed by cybersecurity systems. Understanding these methods is crucial for grasping how software is recognized as malicious. Signature-based detection. This method involves identifying malware through unique sequences of bytes or strings, among other indicators like variable names and function imports. When a program is scanned, it's checked against a pre-established list of signatures. Tools like Yara aid security professionals in crafting these detection signatures. For instance, a specific byte sequence in shellcode could indicate an MSF Venom X64 exec payload. Although bypassing signature detection can be straightforward, it demands time and effort to avoid using easily identifiable hard-coded values in malware. Hash-based detection. Operating under the umbrella of signature detection, hash-based detection is a direct and speedy approach, relying on storing hashes of known malware, e.g. MD5, SHA-256, in a database. A match in the database indicates malware presence. Modifying even a single byte in the malware file alters its hash, making detection via this method easily avoidable. Heuristic detection. To counter the limitations of signature-based methods, heuristic detection identifies malware by analyzing characteristics common in unknown or altered malware versions. This can include static heuristic analysis, decompiling the program and comparing its code against a database of known malware patterns. A match in a significant portion of the code flags the program. Dynamic heuristic analysis, executing the program in a controlled sandbox environment to observe for malicious behaviors, such as unusual memory allocation, followed by network activity and execution of downloaded code. Sandbox detection. Analyzing a file's behavior within a sandboxed environment forms the core of sandbox detection. Malicious actions are identified based on a sequence of activities that, when combined, are deemed suspicious. Malware authors may include checks to determine if their code is running in a sandbox, changing their behavior accordingly to avoid detection.
Bro, this is so exciting. Let's look at the Emotet Trojan from 2014, for example. Let's see how it demonstrated several of the evasion techniques mentioned. Environment checks. Emotet was known to check for indicators of virtualization or sandbox environments, such as certain registry keys, files, or processes that are common in virtual machines but not in physical ones. Human interaction checks. It employed techniques to detect human interaction, such as tracking mouse movements or keyboard activity to differentiate between a real user environment and an automated analysis system. Time bombs. Emotet could delay the execution of its malicious payload to avoid detection within the limited observation window of SOAM sandbox environments. Internet connectivity checks. Emotet often verified its ability to connect to a command and control (CNC) server before executing its payload. This not only ensured that it was not in an isolated sandbox, but also that it could receive updates or commands from its operators. Complex triggers. By requiring specific conditions to trigger its malicious activities, Emotet made it harder for security analysts to manually trigger its payload in a controlled environment.
Behavior-based detection. This method monitors the runtime behavior of a process, looking for actions like DLL loading, specific API calls, or internet connections. Suspicious activities trigger an in-memory scan to determine the process's nature. Some behaviors, such as process injection into benign processes like Notepad.exe, can result in immediate termination of the process. Evading this detection involves mimicking benign application behaviors and potentially employing techniques like memory encryption. API hooking. Security solutions, especially endpoint detection and response (EDR) systems, use API hooking to monitor real-time process or code execution for malicious activities. By intercepting calls to commonly misused APIs, these solutions can analyze the data being passed post-decryption or deobfuscation. Bypassing API hooks might involve methods like DLL unhooking and direct system calls, which are topics for later discussion.
Just a quick pause here to talk about the most common misused APIs targeted by malicious software. Okay, so first we have process manipulation APIs. These are used to create or access another process. Malware may use these to inject malicious code into other processes. Virtual allocates, write process memory, read process memory, facilitate memory allocation within another process and the reading-writing of memory, often used in process injection scenarios. File system APIs allow for the creation, reading, and writing of files. Malware can misuse these to drop and execute malicious payloads or exfiltrate sensitive information. Registry manipulation APIs. These are employed to open, create, or modify registry keys. Malware might use these to establish persistence or disable security features. Network communication APIs, socket, connect, send, REST-EV core networking functions from the WinSock API that allow for network communication. Utilized by malware for exfiltrating data or communicating with command and control servers. Internet open, Internet connect, HTTP send request. Part of the WiniNet API, these are used for higher-level network operations, including HTTP requests, often for downloading additional payloads or C2 communication. DLL injection and manipulation APIs. These are used to load DLLs into a process and locate the address of an exported function within the DLL, respectively. Malware may use them for loading malicious DLLs into other processes. Code execution and injection APIs. Functions that enable the execution of code in the context of another process's thread, common in various code injection techniques. Service control APIs, used to interact with Windows services, which malware might misuse to disable security services or to run malicious code with higher privileges. I think that pretty much covers all the basics on abusing Windows APIs.
IAT checking. The import address table, IAT, is critical in understanding which Windows API functions a program intends to use, as it lists runtime function names and their associated libraries. Security solutions scrutinize the IAT for functions related to file management or cryptography, common in malware like ransomware. API hashing is one technique used to evade IAT scanning, which will be explored in further modules. Manual analysis. Even with all automated detection mechanisms bypassed, manual analysis by skilled malware analysts or defenders can still uncover malware. Techniques designed to hinder reverse engineering, such as debugger detection or virtual environment checks, are employed by malware creators to complicate this process. My fellow seekers of the hidden truths, delving into the internet's most shadowy corners is a task both time-consuming and wearying. Why not buy this old storyteller a cup of coffee so I may continue my nocturnal researches for your intrigue? If your heart calls you to contribute, the pathways to support us, via PayPal, Bitcoin, or credit cards through Stripe, lie waiting in the video description. Your generosity fuels our explorations into the night. For those who tread with us in spirit or in contribution, your companionship is the greatest treasure. Do share in the comments below if there lurks another dark tale you wish to unveil together. I thank you for your company on this journey into the shadows. Farewell for now, and I shall await your return in our next video, where we'll continue to tread the hidden paths of the unknown.